Graeme, it's lovely to have you with us this morning. Before I get you to introduce yourself, can you just settle something for me? How do we pronounce your company name?
Now, my Swedish isn't that great, but it's BoKlok.
BoKlok.
Which is live smart.
Oh, nice.
In Swedish.
Okay. Brilliant. Well, now you've done that, do please introduce yourself for those that don't know you.
Yeah, so I'm Graeme Culliton. I am Managing Director for BoKlok here in the UK, a business that started January of 2019. So we're nearly 2 years into our journey.
Gosh, so quite fresh in the UK.
Yeah, and but it is a business that's been going for 20 years across the Nordics. It was the brainchild of Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of Ikea, and an ex-chief executive of Skanska back in the mid-90s. And they decided, wouldn't it be great if the knowledge from Ikea about how people live and great design and industrialisation, as well as Skanska's skills of development and construction and logistics, couldn't we come together and find a way to create great homes that people could afford? And that affordability piece is really key for our business. And here we are in the UK trying to do the same thing now in 20 years from that original journey.
So you have Skanska and you have Ikea as a joint venture, and you've come to the UK within the last 2 years?
Absolutely. So we started the journey about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And we looked at the political horizon of the UK and the need, and obviously it's well documented, the need for housing here in the UK. And we spent 2 years building the business case. Unfortunately, Ingvar Kamprad passed away during that period as well. And then both boards approved, the Ikea board and the Skanska board approved in late 2018. And they asked me to try and help bring the business forward here in the UK, and here we are now. So we have about 6 sites which we're currently working on across the southwest region and the south coast of the UK. And we'll be starting our first project hopefully in November here in Bristol.
Amazing.
And
We're delighted.
Our first homes in spring of next year.
Very exciting. And so you mentioned they asked you to kind of come on board and help develop it in the UK. Why you? What's your background? What have you been doing with your life?
That's a question you need to ask them. I often ask myself this question. I think it's. I'm not from a residential development background.
Okay.
I'm a contractor first and foremost, and I think that's quite important because the way BoKlok approaches housing development and providing great homes for people is very different from the more traditional routes in the UK, and I think that fresh thinking and different thinking was part of that. I also I understand the UK construction industry. I understand Skanska in the UK, and but also it was it's a business I'm really passionate about because I think that it blends. Yes, there is a commercial side of it. We are a business that needs to make profit for our shareholders, but to do it in the right way and provide great homes for people that really do need it and make difference to communities, and try and act ethically all the way through that journey, and to be able to stand back at the end of a project and say, yeah, that's a really good place for people to live, and we've really made a difference to people's lives. So it was one of the businesses, really grabs you by the heart, and that probably comes across, and was another reason why the guys asked me to take part.
And you mentioned the kind of the difference with BoKlok, and it's a different type of way of going about building homes and things like that. Could you, you started to touch on it a little bit in terms of the focus on communities and things like that. Can you just expand a little bit about what makes it different?
Yeah, sure. The first thing is, if you went back into the mid-90s and when the business was founded, it worked on the premise of, if you took the salary of a single parent nurse in Sweden and you took away a good cost of living, how much do they have left to afford a rent or pay a mortgage? and you work back from that, and then you work out how you deliver a price point for that home that they can afford. You also look at the way they want to live. How can they live healthily? Increasing the amount of daylight into homes is really important to us. The environment, creating communities so people come together, not just, I remember, obviously you can see from the grey hairs on my head, I'm a little bit older than many, but I remember growing up and, your parents talking across the garden fence, and the kids out there, playing football in the street and that sort of thing. I think that thing's gone, and it's trying to recreate that sense of community in developments as well. And to do that, you have to think about not just the home where people live, but how that whole development connects together and create spaces where people can meet. So don't have the car park right next to the front door. Almost make people take a little bit of a journey in the morning, so you do meet each other. But also, create spaces like community barbecue areas, landscaping where people can connect outside, community libraries, all small things, but actually when you put them all together, they make quite a big impact and make it a great place for people to live, not just great homes. So that's very much part of a BoKlok, and understanding the way people live, and this is a lot of the Ikea influence about great design. That's really at the heart of the business also, and trying to simplify also the sales process of buying a home. If you're selling to people that buy their first home, they've never done it before. It's a complex process, and you're trying to make it easy for people and help them along that journey. So there's many aspects to the business. Our homes are also fully manufactured off-site in a factory. They are 95% complete by the time they hit the job site. That creates high quality. It's more sustainable because there's less waste within a factory. A lot of traditional construction, it's really difficult in the UK with changing climate and the wind and the rain and the snow and the frost. So it makes the delivery of our homes quicker, higher quality and more sustainable. So there's many aspects to the BoKlok journey. How we sell our homes, going back to that, we sell in collaboration with the local Ikea store, and we give everybody an equal chance to own a BoKlok home. So you register your interests, and we will invite everybody to a launch event, and we select. Basically, names are picked out of a hat. It's random. And that was Ingvar Kamprad pushing that forward. And it's not, we don't have people queuing around the block to take a ticket, because his view was not everybody can stand in a queue for 4 hours. If you've got childcare commitments or work commitments, you don't. So everybody should have an equal a chance to own a BoKlok home, and not just because you know Graeme Culliton or you know somebody should you get a leg up. So everybody has an equal chance. Your name goes into a hat, and your name is pulled out, and you get the first selection of whichever homes are on offer at that a particular price point.
And has that process been going on the continent already? Is that something that's been tried, tested and delivered on?
Yeah, it's something we've been doing across the Nordics, and especially in Sweden since the business was founded. And that's a very different approach to we might see in the UK. The prices are set at a fixed price. It has some similarities of going into our IKEA store and buying your Billy bookcase for $8.99 or whatever the
we all love
price
a Billy
is.
bookcase.
So it's very much that's the price point. There's no hidden hidden advantages or hidden costs. It's very much this is the price you pay, and then once you've been selected, you have time to go and sort your mortgage out. We provide you support in finding the right mortgage offer for you, and you come back and you contract with us at some point later once you have your mortgage offer. But the journey doesn't stop there. Yeah, we can invite people to see their homes being constructed, because effectively a home will be almost built in a day if it was a single family home, a house. Again, that's bringing communities together. You meet your neighbours almost before you've moved in. No tapping on the door and asking for a cup of sugar. You've already met the people during the construction phase. You get time within the IKEA interior designer, and there will be, hopefully, working with IKEA, some specific offers around, furniture offers to fit in, our house types and the particular bedroom sets or living room sets. So you get to put a stamp on your home, in your own interior design flair, and there's actually quite a great following on Instagram with people, sharing, their ideas and what they've done with their BoKlok homes, which is great to follow. Far better interior design and design concepts than I could ever dream up. So it's great to see. Then when you move in, give you support of a carpenter to help you put your furniture together or do whatever you need in the home, and just trying to make it easy for people to move along that journey and then be able to relax in their home and enjoy it really, and realise their dream.
Wonderful. Well, you've painted a beautiful picture, and obviously this is based on stuff that's already happening in the Nordics, as you said. How do you think it's going to translate into the UK? Do you think there are going to be elements that will need to be tweaked or changed, or do you envisage it just working like that here?
I'm sure we'll have to tweak. I mean, it is different. The customer requirements are slightly different here than they are in Sweden. A good example is always the bathroom. In Sweden, it's not uncommon to have your washing machine and your tumble dryer in the bathroom. Yeah?
There you go.
Because it's wet. Wet washing goes in the place that's wet, which
kind of makes
bathroom.
sense.
It kind of makes sense, but actually that's not the way we think in the UK. So, and in Scandinavia, it's a lot more prevalent to just have a shower and a wet room shower, whereas UK customer likes to have a bath. So there are differences, but in relation to the business, what we're trying to do is we're trying to stay as close to the model that's worked well in the Nordics as we possibly can. It is a different way of looking at life, but I'm sure as we go through the journey we may have to adapt and tweak and move, and that will be listening to the customer. That's the reason we'll be doing that, is listening to the customer. What do they want? What do they like? What do they not like in the process? And constantly improve it for them. It's not about us or the way the industry thinks. It has to be listening to the customer, and that's what we'll be doing.
So let's talk very specifically about the sites in the UK. So you obviously there's one that you're looking at in Bristol. Do you want to give us an update on where we're at with that and what you're looking at, what your plans are, what your designs are looking like?
Yeah, so we have the site at Airport Road in Bristol, which is now known as BoKlok by the Brook.
Beautiful. So
it will be a combination of 2 and 3 bedroom homes and 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. There's 173 homes in total, and we hope to start on site in November.
That's very soon.
Very soon, we hope. Subject to hitting that start date, we hope to be launching and starting to sell homes in the late spring of 2021.
Brilliant.
It will initially be built in 2 phases. There'll be around 125 homes in phase 1. So that's where we are today. It will be our first project in the UK here in Bristol.
Excellent.
There are good reasons why it's here in Bristol, the council, the housing festival, and the people of Bristol have been really receptive, and we we kind of knew some of that before we started, because we could have been in many places in the UK. But when we did our customer survey work, Bristol and the South West came out as a bit different for two things. A lot more open-minded to new ideas, came out very, very strongly. And the second thing was really has sustainability and climate at its heart. So that, alongside the support of the community and the council, sort of means we're now here in Bristol with our first project. The second project, we're very hopeful that we will have a scheme in Worthing starting in early next year, and then we have a mixture of sites here in the Bristol region, not necessarily the city, but our region here will go from North Somerset up to Gloucester. We have last count, I think we have 5 sites that we're currently working on in that region, and we have 5 sites in between Brighton and Southampton on the south coast. So yeah, hopefully by the end this time next year we'll have 5 projects on site delivering homes to happy customers.
And for those that are really interested in following the development of the Airport Road site, when do you think is worth kind of driving past or peeking over the fence to see what's going on? When are we actually going to see some movement?
Okay, you'll see a lot of movement of spoil and soil over the next few months, but we expect the first homes delivered March, April time. We hope to have a show home open around April time.
Oh, interesting. Okay, great.
So I would say, if people want to look over the fence and see something interesting happening, as in modular homes being built, it will be late spring next year, March, April, May time. And
we'll just follow you on social media to keep up.
Yeah, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter or Insta, or even better, follow BoKlok on both of those things. We'll keep everybody up to date on what's going on.
Great, that's really good. So Graeme, we've spoken previously about kind of the value of community engagement, and it's coming out in a lot of everything you're saying anyway around the values behind BoKlok and what they're doing, and your hopes for this scheme even. Do you want to just tell me a little bit more about why is it so important to you? Why is it so important to BoKlok? And going forward, how do we look at projects more broadly even, and look at the kind of social value? How do projects that you're involved with get involved with things like work experience and providing local jobs and more than just creating community spaces, but how does it really engage with local communities?
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing is that there's two kind of aspects to this community engagement, social value. There's many terms that have been used. I kind of boil it down into two simple things. I think it's really important to engage the local community in anything that is adding or going to be part of their community for the future. So that's sort of number one. They need to be proud and they need to be connected with a new development like Airport Road, as an example. Nobody likes something being built in their backyard. That's the reality of life at the moment. So connecting with people and working with people and communicating with people is a very, very important part of that. So that's the first aspect of it. I think local economic impact is also as important. Providing local jobs, contributing to the local economy. And when I say economy, it's not always about the pound notes. It can be the economy of carbon, as an example, and clean air and those things. So it's very, very wide. I mean, depending on who you talk to and depending on whether you talk to me on certain days, sometimes I'm in the space of let's talk about, the amount of money we're creating and being able to push back into the local economy in Bristol. Or another day, actually, do you know what, let's just try and do the right thing for the people that are there. we take a view, and there's many developers and there's many builders who do fantastic work in this space. But what I've experienced in the past is you can often come into a new project and you can impose your view of what a community needs. I don't think that's right. I think you need to engage with the community before you start, and you need to listen. You need to shut this and open these, and try to sort of say, look, you know, what issues do you have? What might we be able to help? And you generally end up with quite a long list there. Then you need to be clear on what you can and you can't do, and that's, you know, sometimes that can be the difficult part of the conversation, because, you know, there are just some things that aren't appropriate for us. You know, we'd love to be doing more work, for instance, in relation to refuge centres and things like that. It's not necessarily our core business, so you need to keep it, you know, there are people a lot more experienced and with the right process to participate in that space. So you need to keep it real to you and what you can do. So first thing is engage with the local community, listen, don't impose. Once you've listened, discuss what you can do and be clear on what you can do, and then keep communicating but deliver on your promises. So, and I think this is where COVID has kind of held us back a little bit in our journey, is that, you know, it's been a little bit more difficult to get out and talk to large sections of the community. So we have spoken to the community out in Knoll. We need to do a lot more work in continuing that conversation, and then we do need to deliver. We do need to deliver on our promises there. But coming back to, you know, the wider piece, yes, local employment is a really important point, but actually try to look at it as not just for the 1 year or 1.5 years you might be delivering a construction project. You know, you've got a development here that needs to be maintained throughout its lifespan. There's jobs there for life for people if you approach it in the right way, in maintaining the green space, maintaining the buildings themselves. So it's playing your part in that as well, to make sure you're leaving that legacy there as well. Within Skanska, which obviously BoKlok is part of Skanska, there's been some great work done in the past. In the early stages of the development of Battersea Power Station, Skanska engaged with the London School of Economics to look at the financial impact of the initiatives that you brought to site. So, and try to look at the return on investment.
So is that almost like putting money, pound signs, to the value of labour from the local area, or the social value that was being included? Absolutely.
So and evaluating which ones gave you the biggest bang for the buck.
Okay.
So we know from that exercise, for instance, one of the best returns to the overall UK economy from the work we did was employment of ex-offenders. So for every £1 that we put into that initiative, the return to UK economy was £45. So a 45 times return. So yeah, we looked at green travel, local education initiatives, and all manner of, you know, community engagement to see what added the most value. But I'm cautious in talking about that, because I think you do, you know, coming back to my first point, is you do need to get that balance between what the community actually need, which isn't always monetised, yeah, to then what the local economy needs. And I think there's a massive opportunity for the UK moving forward in relation to how it procures its major projects, and putting this kind of best value, social value, more to the fore of its decision making on large projects. It's good at the moment, but, you know, actually Brexit can actually help this, because, you know, the changes to our procurement legislation moving forward won't be done in Brussels. It can be done in the UK. So there's a massive opportunity there to think a bit differently, and select the right thinking and the right people to deliver projects that really understand how to do this well, but also leave the legacy, not just do something great for the period of the project itself, but how do you maintain it over its lifespan?
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's some real work to be done around social value, even just defining the term more clearly, because as you said earlier, lots of different people refer to different things when we're talking about social value, and whether it's local economy, whether it's green economy, whether it's purely money, whether it's money against what we're expecting, like your ex-offender work and things like that. So I would agree. I think it's a really interesting time actually to be in the UK and looking at procurement rules and things like that.
Yeah, and having a recognised method of benchmarking. Yeah, how do we all get to the same level of benchmarking, whether you're working in Manchester or Bristol or Brighton or wherever, to get to that. But actually local economy is also really important, because you can calculate how many times money spent locally can be regenerated as well. So that's another aspect to this. You can really try to boost the local economy from looking at some of these things in the right way. But I think that kind of measurement and benchmarking piece is something that I know that there's a lot of work going on in that space, and I probably don't know all of what's going on there. But it's a really interesting space to be in. But let's not get too economic about it. Let's get down to the fact of if you're building a new development right next to a community, include that community and listen to them is really at the key, the heart of this.
Absolutely. And as BoKlok expands within the UK, are there particular plans to look at that kind of element of it, whether it's community engagement, careers in construction, or particular kind of social value elements? Are there plans afoot?
There are. I mean, we're a small business, and build as you go. We will be participating in some initiatives here in Bristol. One that's being led by the Architecture Centre to try to showcase construction in all of its guises: design, project management, delivery, to people that might not necessarily see it as an industry to be part of. I think there's a big piece for construction to take on in being a more inclusive industry. It is still a predominantly white middle-aged demographic within the industry. The average age of a construction worker in the UK is in its 50s. So we have an absolute need to bring younger people into the industry. But I also think it's a great industry to come into. I don't have a university background. I wasn't smart enough at school to get to that level. But you can work your way through in construction, and if that's what you want. But actually, it pays really well, and it provides a good standard of living to a great many people. So I think it can be a challenging environment at times, working out on a building site, but the rewards of driving around London and pointing at projects that you've delivered or you've been involved with to your children is something that I enjoy. It bores them, but I enjoy it. But the point is, I think whatever your educational background, it provides opportunity. It's not one of those industries that has closed doors. So I think it has as a positive. I still think there's more for us to do in making it more inclusive in relation to ethnicity and gender. And that there's great strides being made in women in construction, and the BoKlok team is extremely diverse from a gender perspective. But we do need to do more for people from different backgrounds and from different ethnicities, and make it a more attractive business and industry for them. And they need to be looking at the top, and they need to be able to see people that they aspire to follow in their footsteps further up within many construction organisations. I think we've got a big responsibility to make that happen and make it happen soon.
Well, it sounds like BoKlok have got a lot on the table and a lot to be getting on with in the next few years. But Graeme, thank you so much for your time today. We're delighted to have you as part of the Bristol Housing Festival, particularly this Expo 2020 this year, and really pleased to have had this time with you. So thank you so much.
Brilliant, thanks a lot.